Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Velocity channel, where this is your bridge to financial freedom. Today we're going to go ahead and throw you a curveball in that, yes, we're still going to be paying down our cash flow sucking auto loans, right? And of course the Velocity banking method, it makes it easy for you to pay down all of your debts. It doesn't matter what it is. But we're going to throw you a curveball, and I don't think you're going to see this coming. And so before we do that, let's go ahead and like, share, and subscribe so that everyone around the world can know the power of Velocity banking. Are you ready for this? Well, let's get into it. As is our custom, we start out with this so real auto loan of $32,000 at 10%, $679 each and every month. Of course, that's $679. Is it going all to the principal? Of course not. It is getting split up. Sometimes the higher this interest rate goes, you're going to notice that the interest rate, right? The interest, how much is going to the interest each and every month goes up. But if that interest rate goes down, then the amount that goes to interest comes down, right? So let's go ahead and look over here at our line of credit of $10,000 at 21%. And are we going to use our line of credit to pay off this auto loan? Well, we can. But what if you don't have a line of credit? Or what if you have plenty of lines of credit, but you say, you know what? I don't want to use my lines of credit. What are you going to do now? Just keep on paying the minimum monthly payment? Huh? Just keep on paying the same way you've been paying? Racking up that interest, drowning in interest, drowning in debt. Is that what you're going to do? No. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you are placing your cash flow in the correct place, which means we have the $5,000 in income, the $3,000 in expenses, but instead of placing that $2,000 and letting it sit in our line of credit, guess where we're going to let it sit? We're going to let it sit in our deployment account. I refuse to call it a savings account, because what have you been saving, right? As long as your money sits in the savings account and doesn't do anything, that value is going lower and lower and lower. But if you have a plan to place this $2,000 inside of a savings account each and every month until you get to $10,000, let's say, then you'll be using that account correctly. So let's go ahead and multiply the 2,000 by 5 months, because that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to multiply it by 5 months. That's going to equal $10,000. So now that we have the $10,000, what are we going to do with it? We're going to put it towards what? Okay, we're going to attack this loan. We're going to bring this $32,000 down to $22,000 so that the interest that was eating the $32,000 is now eating the $22,000. And this is a huge deal, and I'm going to show you why. All right, so as you look to my left, you're going to see the difference between the interest and the principal levels here on the amortization table. It's called amortization because it's killing you slowly with those regular payments that you have to have regardless of how much you put down that principal. Do you see how it's not like the line of credit? All right, now, $679, $679. This one, we deployed the $10,000. We didn't use our line of credit to do it this time, right? But we used the same principle. So the $22,000 at 10%, this is what it looks like. This is the interest, right? This is how much the bank is getting, $187. And this is how much is getting paid to the principal. That part matters, $492, right? Now, up here at the $32,000 mark, $266 was going to interest, while $413 was going towards the principal. So you see right off the bat how much interest you're saving by that one transaction of putting that $10,000 towards the 32, bringing it down to the $22,000. Now, you would want to say at this point, well, CJ, I mean, $2,000. How am I going to save that much money? I mean, all kinds of things happen throughout the week and throughout the month. Well, that $2,000 that we're saving each month does not have to be a $2,000 from your first paycheck. Right? Because it's $2,500, right? Plus $2,500 or thereabouts. And so what you want to do is you want to take advantage of what we call time and balance. Oh, this part is powerful right here. Now, those of you who already have the Money Max account, you already have this built into the system. You just plug in your income, your debt, and your expenses, and out comes your debt-free date. It's not going to be 20 years, not going to be 30 years. It's actually going to be in as little as 5 to 10 years, or maybe even less than that, depending on the income, the debt, and the expenses. But that actually, you have a software that already does this calculation for you. But for those of us, look at this. And of course, I have the Money Max's account as well. But the 10%, people are so focused. They are so focused on that interest rate, aren't they? When they don't need to be as focused on the interest rate than they do with time and balance. This is what they mean when they say time is money. You've got to make sure that throughout the week, you are paying your obligations, your debts, in a way that is going to knock down this interest. Because this interest is what's eating you alive, all right? That's why it seems like you can't get anywhere, because they've conditioned you to pay just the minimum monthly payment, and they rarely even ever mention anything about eating away at the principal, when the principal, eating that principal is where it's at. Because remember now, the interest is the parasite and the principal is the host. If you shrink the host, you shrink the parasite. You shrink that principal, you will be shrinking the interest. And so let's go throughout the days of the week, shall we? And let's give you a scenario of what we're talking about so that you can make sure that you're saving that $2,000 each and every month to deploy towards those loans. Check this out. Time and balance, so important. And so let's go ahead and get a close-up on this calendar here. 1K. Let's say after you get paid on the 1st, let's say we're getting paid at a frequency of we're getting paid on the 1st and the 15th. Let's go ahead and say we're able on the 1st to go ahead and put away $1,000 into our deployment account. Remember, we're not using it as a savings account. We're going to be using it as a deployment account so that we can increase in our savings, because we got to get rid of this $679 going towards someone else. We want to capture that $679 so that it works in our favor instead of the bank's. And so, of course, we have the bills, right? We've got to make room for the bills. And of course, this week, we're not able to put anything together to pay those bills with. So we're not going to extract anything except when we get paid again on the 15th. But on the 15th, again, we have bills for that week. So perhaps we're only able, we can extract it here. Okay, I'm talking about strategic transfers, guys. Strategic transfers from the checking account to the savings or to the deployment account, all right? And so we got to pay bills here, all right? And on the next one, we look inside and we say, okay, we can actually save another $500, let's say, on a Friday. We mentioned that. And we do it, all right? 1,000 plus 500 plus 500 is $2,000 for that month. Is it getting a little close towards the end of the month? Sure, it is. But at the same time, we have a goal, right? We have a system now that we can actually place this inside of a deployment account, and we're doing it for a reason. And it's way more important than any emergency fund, okay? Especially if you have a line of credit, because we're getting rid of these cash flow sucking loans. Absolutely. See, when you're paying it like this on a frequent basis, on a monthly basis, you're stacking up that $10,000 and deploying it. Because when you have a cash flow of $2,000, do you know how long it's going to pay back that $10,000? 5 months. So you're literally making sure that this becomes zero in no time. As a matter of fact, I want to give you the differences in the interest that you'll save versus the interest that you give to someone else by using the velocity banking method. Now, I know this is pretty new to you, but those who have the Money Max account, this is what they do, right? The transfer to checking to savings. We call it a strategic transfer. But let me show you the difference between having a velocity banking method and not having one. Watch this. I just want to say before I give you the answer that this is not to disparage anyone who is using the traditional banking methods. If that's what you got taught growing up and it's working for you, then please continue to do it. This is not to disparage anyone. And I say this because the differences in interest that you're going to see is going to be so drastic that you're going to think that I'm making fun of those who still use the traditional banking ways. That's not what I'm doing. Velocity banking is running competition with no one. We only enhance what you're actually doing. As a matter of fact, remember, when you combine debt snowball and velocity banking, you get a debt blizzard. When you combine a debt avalanche and velocity banking, you get a debt blizzard, okay? And that just means we're wiping out your debt just like a whiteout, okay? Wiping out really quickly, okay? Now, doing it the velocity banking way, you'll be paying $1,096 in interest, okay? Doing it the traditional way, you'll be paying a whopping $8,794. Listen, like my friend told me, you pay for what you don't know, right? You didn't know that you could actually use a line of credit to get rid of your loans. You didn't know that you could actually move your money around in such a way where you'll actually have the $2,000, right, to save each and every month so that you can stack up to $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 so that you can deploy it towards the principal of a loan. You didn't know that, and that's okay because now you do, all right? So let's go ahead and make sure that we are saving, we're capturing that interest in between here. What is that? Over $7,000, over $6,000 something dollars, right? For simply moving your money around. Because remember, we didn't have to get a second job. We didn't have to starve, go on the beans and rice diet or the Alpo diet or the kibbles and bits diet. We didn't have to do that, right? We kept the same budget. 5,000 coming in, 3,000 going out. It's just now we know what to do with the 2,000. Get rid of that monster of a debt. If you have any questions, you know the first line in the description link is what you should click. And if you are tired of day in and day out, living from paycheck to paycheck, not wondering, but knowing that someone is going to come after you because you don't know how to pay those loans yet, please let us know. We're here to help you out. God bless you, and we'll see you in the next video.